let's get started with this phenomenal woman who's doing Nigeria proud in Canada. We're joined on the program by Khadijah Haliru, first black councillor in Ingersoll and Oxford County, Ontario. Of course, joining us from Ontario, Oxford, Ontario. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. I know it's really early there, so you've had to stay up. Thank you for doing just that.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get right into it. First black councillor. I mean, how did that happen? And of course, we know it was not just by magic wand. You must have done a lot of work. We know how tough it is for women to attain positions here. Talk more of there. So just walk us through how tough this was. A dose of inspiration is what people need right now. So you will present us with that.
Thank you. Well, it's definitely by God's grace, as well as having the ability to intersect, when our culture, our upbringing, our education, Nigerians, we're just something else, the confidence we bring to the table. So we move into Canada and, you're always looking for a way to assimilate and integrate. And through work, there's always that obstacle. You weather the storm. And at some point, I decided back in 2016 to start my own business. And then my husband decided maybe we go to a smaller town where we can find a little bit of ease and cost effectiveness. And we found ourselves in this town, 99% white, just outskirts of Toronto, just to get a little bit more, quiet. But then I found myself as the only visible black person. I couldn't find anyone else. And then I felt, what, if they don't know me, if they don't know me, they won't trust me. So I decided to go find a store in the heart of downtown. I launched my skincare line and became the native doctor, as you will, because I was now promoting shea butter, African products, African black soap, along with the cosmetics. And I just wanted to have that authenticity to what I did. And when people came in and they learned about Africa through the butters and the cocoa butter and the ingredients, and I would help heal skin and talk about African black soap and our 400-year recipe, you ended up building a lot of relationships. A lot of family dynamics, from grandmother to child having skincare issues, would come. So people over the last, I would say 4, 5, 6 years knew who I was as the only black person, building these relationships, just really being myself. And actually, when they sold that building, I was trying to save the building because the building was owned by the city. And I said, you don't have to sell this building. Most newcomers come here and they need a place to integrate. We could start like an incubator program, right? And I was trying to sell it so well to save it, but they voted to sell it. And that really angered me because I had just successfully settled, built this business. And so I went on publicly saying, you know what, when newcomers come to your town, there's ways that we can deal with. When people bring value, they do this and do that. And so I think the way I went out publicly and I started to speak, people started to realize, oh my God, they sold the building? Did they sell? So they just realized how disengaged they were with what was happening in the town. And I would educate them that, you know what, I wish we could do this because I'm moving from Toronto. We had this. You could do this here. You could do this there. I was just minding my business. After maybe a year of moving my shop and then having to move again because the place I moved to wasn't doing so well and I moved again, people started coming to say, you know what, why don't you run for office? I never thought of it. Never. They just came to me. And in fact, a friend came to the house to say, Khadijah, I think you need to run for office because we love the way you kind of recommend, the way you speak, the way you offer solutions, because we need someone who can stand up for us. And all the women in the town basically rallied around me and they voted me in. As simple as that. It was just about building relationships over a course of time.
Amazing. And just to get a context of what you do as a councillor, maybe you can provide that so people understand who a councillor is and the kind of work you have to do in either the community or the larger society.
Yes. So as a municipal councillor, it's equivalent to what we have in Nigeria as the local government council. So we have a council that is made up of different members of the community, and we have a mayor. The mayor is the head of council. So council together makes decisions at the municipal level. We take care of roads, we take care of housing, we take care of your home taxes, your property taxes, industrial taxes. We basically give permission for you to come in as a company to build in our town or not build in our town. We make those decisions. And then we also are in charge of sewer, electricity, we basically affect you daily, garbage disposal. And then when it comes to building homes and the hospital maintenance and the childcare services and so on. So we basically manage the local level governance of people. And that's why in Canada, the municipal government is perhaps more important to people because that's what they look at every day. How much is the city taxing me? How much are we paying for this? Why are we building this? Why is that company coming here? So it's a lot of decision making, a lot of appropriation of land, a lot of making sure that we're signing the right contracts for things like recreational services and healthcare services and so on. So we raise money for our own hospitals. We manage them, even though the provincial government builds them. So the way you look at it is in Nigeria, the federal government is maybe the main government, and then the governor is the next, and then local government chairman, maybe we don't even know who they are. But here it is the councillors. We're not party affiliated at the council level. We're merit based elections. So everybody is elected on their merit, no party affiliation, which makes it easy for people who are locally living in a town to have more popularity amongst their own people. But people say, no, I know you, you don't do that, I don't trust you, or no, yes, I believe you can do it. And that's how you get in. So once you get in, you basically make decisions based on every application that comes, every request from the community, every protest about something not happening, you have to listen to it, make decisions. So there's a lot of debate on really local issues. The provincial government is responsible for healthcare, education, highway roads, not our local city roads. And basically, that's the difference. And then the federal government here is only talking global affairs and international trade and immigration. So that's kind of our separation of powers. But at the municipal level, we do more of the real day-to-day activities for the person.
Hello? Are you talking to me?
All right. Can you hear me, Khadijah?
Yes.
Okay. Just for clarity, so the way the election system works, so let's find out, because when you said you don't need to be affiliated to a party, is it independent candidacy you're talking about here? I need that clarity. And then second is the fact that in the municipality, what aspect of leadership are you in charge of? I mean, here we have supervisory councillor for education, for this and that and the other, because we're celebrating you, so we know exactly what you're doing. Kadijah, if you could kindly unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead now.
Okay. So I basically champion diversity on council. Diversity committee for me and the accessibility committee. So those are the responsibilities that I hold. And that basically really fits well with me trying to make case for everyone being equal, everyone having access, everyone being able to pursue all the opportunities that exist in our community. And so those are the two portfolios that I kind of hold. We talk a lot about diversity when it comes to our cultures, our ages, and how we affect youth to seniors to middle-aged families with children, and how we support them in the community. A lot of recreation activities, a lot of advocacy for childcare and senior care and the hospital fundraising. So all that, I was on the police service board, where I also served as the first diverse candidate on the police service board, which is a provincial nomination. And when you're on that board, I was also nominated to be the vice chair of the Association of Police Service Board as the first non-white person. So that allowed me to bring my issues and my own perspectives to the table. When you talk diversity, they don't even understand how sometimes it affects us, the way a child from 13 is seen as a child, but the moment he turns 14, a neighbor could easily call the police and say there's a criminal in his backyard. So I brought those things to the table and fighting for us to see each other as equal, to see the immigrant as someone who's come with a lot of value and did not come begging. So I demand respect everywhere, and that's kind of where I put my energy. So those portfolios have been really dear to me.
So help us with the general environment, if you will, because when you look at what's going on in the world, from the UK, when you hear rhetorics from people like the conservative leader of the United Kingdom's party, that's Kemi Badenoch, and then you hear rhetorics from people like Donald Trump and what is going on around the world, it looks like immigrants are not having the best times, especially illegal immigrants and all of that. So from where you sit and what you do, what's your assessment of what is playing out? Because we have lots of Nigerians in Canada. Perhaps, I'm sure there are illegal immigrants there as well as people that legally stay there.
Yes, indeed. In the last year, I've had to deal with a lot of our local students, especially, who are just unfairly finding themselves in some of these situations. The protectionist ideology that, everything was fine and until immigrants came is something that I took on very early. I actually wrote an article saying you cannot continue to blame immigrants for all your problems. And I kind of, as always, will say to anyone who cares to listen what immigrants bring to the table. And for us, especially as Nigerians, I've had to do a lot of education. And I think my community now, being 99% white, know exactly what the Nigerian is, what they stand for, who they are. They even love our food, because I actually launched the Nigerian stew first time in the jar, and all the white people now buy Nigerian stew, eat jollof rice every day. So they actually understand now that we're not just immigrants coming to ask for help. We are immigrants who've come to contribute to the society. And in Canada, there's a difference between us and the United States, where we're considered one of the most educated countries because we bring the best to the country. We have tapped into Nigeria, and recently people knew about the Nigerian situation in Toronto, where we had some students falling through the cracks. So we tried to reach out to help them. But we refuse to, in Canada, make it seem like we are the problem. And that is one of the reasons why I've decided to run for a higher office, because the moment it started to be the immigrant was the problem, we had to rise up to say no. We are here paying taxes, we're working hard, we're doing whatever we have to do, and I will not sit back and have them tag us. We've worked so hard to be seen as the problem. And that's where, we all have to raise our voices. I heard Kemi's unfortunate remarks. I actually made a case for myself on social media saying it is unfortunate that no matter how bad our countries are, no matter how our experiences are, you do not use the highest level of office at the highest point in your career to point the negative in your country amongst all the good that Nigeria has done for us. Without the foundation of Nigeria, without my public administration degree from ABU, I would not be sitting here today, because even just understanding the levels of government, understanding the work,
right,
challenging the status quo, sometimes asking a question that no one in the room even understands, I credit that to Nigeria every day. And I cannot understand why anyone would use their office to say such a negative. So I was really disappointed in them.
Well, I'm sure you speak in the minds of a lot of Nigerians, but we have to thank you so much. We love what you're doing. I love what you've done at the level you're at now and the level you're aiming for. That's the provincial level, and wish you the very best. It's quite interesting. We just talked about local government elections coming up in Osun State this weekend, right? And we just had this conversation with you, and it's cheery to hear that you're championing transparency, accountability, representation in government. So I really hope a lot of people can take a cue from that. We've been speaking with Khadijah Haliru, first black councillor in Ingersoll and Oxford County, Ontario, and now she is running for the Oxford County Provincial NDP. Well, thank you, wish you the very best, and please have at least a short sleep, but very, very a positive one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll talk about the things that affect us directly now. The USAID bid, the security bid. There's a lot on the table, so stay with us. We'll be right back.